Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a problem that can bring even the most exciting companies to a grinding halt, when your marketing engine is just stuck. And we're going to look at the powerful fix that's getting them back in the race, the fractional CMO.
So let me ask you something. Does this sound at all familiar? You feel like your team is busy. I mean, everyone's running around, right? But your marketing just feels like it's spinning its wheels. It's this frantic, endless loop of activities that don't seem to connect or build any real momentum.
And if that hits a little too close to home, then you probably recognize some of these symptoms too. Campaigns just take forever to get out the door. The sales team is, let's be honest, probably complaining about the leads you're sending them. Your tech stack, all those expensive tools, they don't even talk to each other. And the content, it's just kind of random. You have no idea if any of it is actually working. It's what we call being stuck in a tactical trap. But here's the thing. The real insight here is that the root cause, it's usually not a bad team. And it's not the wrong software. It's a gap. It's a leadership vacuum right at the top. You know, without that high-level strategic vision, even the absolute best people and tools are going to struggle to move the needle.
And this is where the solution comes in, the fractional CMO. So what is that? Well, it's pretty simple. It's a seasoned, executive-level marketing leader that you bring on board part-time. You get all that critical strategic direction you're missing, but you get it without the massive overhead of a full-time C-suite salary.
So this really presents a fundamental choice. The traditional way, you could hire a full-time CMO, which is a huge commitment. Or maybe you hire an agency. And agencies are great for getting things done, for execution, but they often lack that deep strategic ownership. The fractional model, though, it aims for the best of both worlds. You get that C-level transformational thinking, but with the flexibility and the lower costs that a growing business actually needs.
Okay, so how do they actually fix the problem? I promise it's not magic. It's a very structured approach, and it's built on 4 key pillars of transformation. First, they overhaul the entire strategy. This means killing the random acts of marketing and tying every single action directly to business goals and, most importantly, revenue. Second, they redesign all the broken processes to build efficient workflows so your teams can actually collaborate and get things done faster. Third, they modernize the tech stack, making sure all your tools are integrated and working for you, not against you. And finally, they bring in a culture of making decisions based on data, focusing only on the metrics that prove value and drive real growth.
So that all sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Let's get into the proof. Let's see how this transformation really plays out. Let's start with Vedantu. They're a fast-growing edtech startup, and they were facing a pretty massive challenge. They had to convince a really skeptical market about the whole idea of live online learning. Now just think about that for a second. They weren't just selling a product. They had to sell a completely new concept to parents and students in India. They literally had to build credibility and trust from the ground up. And the results of bringing in fractional leadership to define their brand and build out their campaigns, a 4-fold increase in revenue. 4x. That's the power of getting the strategy right from the very beginning.
Okay, now let's jump to a completely different industry. Our next example is VBHC Value Homes, a major real estate brand that was facing a whole different set of problems.
For them, the problem was all in the sales funnel. I mean, they were just burning money on campaigns that brought in low-quality leads. Their cost to get a customer was through the roof, and that expensive marketing automation software they bought?
Yeah, it was just sitting there collecting dust.
So after a fractional leader came in, did a strategic audit and a complete overhaul, the results were just dramatic. A 300% increase in total leads, a massive drop in the cost per lead, and a pipeline that was suddenly filled with thousands of high-intent buyers. See, they didn't just spend more. They focused their spending on what actually worked.
All right, one final example for you. Apsian. It's a B2B SaaS company, and they needed to get much sharper with their go-to-market strategy for a really important product. And this is a great example because the problem was so specific. Their in-house team was talented, for sure, but they just didn't have that niche experience required to position a complex product for long, difficult enterprise sales cycles. This is a perfect example of a tiny but critical strategic gap.
So a fractional strategist came in for a quick 90-day sprint, totally restructured their positioning, and gave the sales team better tools to work with. And the result? It wasn't just some vanity metric. It was a core business outcome, faster deal cycles. They were closing business more quickly, all because their message was finally hitting the mark.
So after seeing these transformations, the question naturally turns back to you and your organization. Is your marketing stuck? I think the key thing to take away from all this is really simple. Real, meaningful transformation, it isn't about buying new tools. It's about fundamentally changing how marketing works at its very core, by aligning your people, your processes, your tech, and your data around one single clear strategy for growth.
And that really leads us to the final thought here. In a world where buyers are changing constantly, standing still, that just means you're falling behind. Your competitors, they're already adapting, they're evolving. So the only question left is, are you?